Getting started with FPV drones can feel quite overwhelming, but trust me, it doesn't have to. You can start flying with just a regular PlayStation or Xbox controller for your PC, and while that is fine to start with, I would highly suggest that if you want to start with FPV, that you pick up a controller. And this is the controller I use. This is a Radio Master Boxer, and I use the protocol ELRS. It's a stable, reliable protocol, and it's relatively cheap. I like this controller because it's a little bit more compact. I did mod the antenna to be able to fold. Right now, it's just need new 3D print to so the antenna stays down whenever I fold it. But other than that, it is pretty small compared to some of the other controllers out there. The other controller I recommend, that is the TX16S Mark II, and this is also with built-in ELRS, and this is a bit bigger controller. This has a few more features like a touchscreen, but not something I really use in my day-to-day flying. The last controller I would recommend, I don't have. I've been considering getting it for a bit more portability, and that is the Radio Master Pocket. Now this is a small form factor radio, but there are two versions. Get the one with ELRS built in, as it will be more future-proof. Simulators are the best, easiest, most cost-effective way and the safest way to start flying FPV drones if you are just getting started. And it will help build your muscle memory and refine the skills you need to fly safely and without crashing as much when you finally fly a real drone. There are two simulators I want to show you today. The first one is VelociDrone, and this one has a lot of traction and is very popular amongst racers, and that is mostly because it has super realistic physics. It's very close to real life, and there are a lot of maps in the simulator. And most of the maps people fly in real life are also recreated in this simulator. You can practice shot turns, flying through gate, technical maneuvers, and even practice racing before heading out with a real drone. I use this simulator mostly when I want to try something more technical or want to get a little bit more control and technicality into my flying style. The other simulator is Trip, and Trip is quite different from VelociDrone. While it does also have pretty realistic physics, if you have a PC powerful enough to handle it, then it is quite well made. Thing about here is that it's mostly geared towards freestyle, in my opinion. I don't think the racing aspect of Trip is as good as VelociDrone, so I don't recommend if you want to race primarily. But if you are into freestyle and want to go that route, this is highly suggested. And Trip really looks well, but that's not the main thing for me. It's the custom drone features that you can mix and match and create your own custom drones in there and make them fly more like your drones do. I use a lot of different drones in my day-to-day flying, and I haven't found any other simulator that can make those variations with the drones. It also has pretty realistic physics when you tune it a bit, and of course you still need the powerful PC to be able to handle it. If you don't, I would suggest flying in VelociDrone. Both of the simulators have some great options for getting started with flying FPV, but mostly it's just getting in there and get practice. You want to head into any of the maps. So this is Bonus Bando, and I think that works pretty great for flying for your first time. You want to press R, so it's not in the same spot here as me, and then you want to arm the motors. Once that is done, you want to slowly move the throttle up. If you move too fast, it will accelerate quite rapidly. So practice just finding that spot where you are still in the air, and you can almost see if you can stand as still as possible. Finding that exact spot, then you can move it down a bit, and then you stop, down and stop. So you practice your throttle control and make sure that you can maneuver that effortlessly, and slowly you begin to build confidence, and then you can hover where you want in the air, and you can move a bit fast up, or you can move slowly down, and you can brake so you stand still. Then we want to head on to the next one. That means we still want to go up a little bit, and then you want to start tilting to the right, then left. And notice how the drone just stays where you leave it. So if you leave it in one direction, it will just stay there. It won't go back to being leveled. It will move back. It will only move in when you tell it to. So if you let go here, it will stay in that level, and then you can go back. If anything happens, just press R and start over. And now we can slowly start to move back and forth. Maybe go a bit faster, and once you have the hang of just moving from side to side, we want to take it to the next level. Then we want to fly up again, and now we want to focus on the pitch. Now that is moving forward. And as you know, when you move forward, you're going to need a bit more throttle if you want to stay in the air. So practice moving this throttle up and down as you tilt the drone back and forth, or pitch it back and forth. And then you just, all I'm doing is practicing throttle with the pitch. Just making some rocking motions, and maybe you can go a bit fast and then see if we can stop somewhere. There we go. Or maybe we can bring it to leveling again, and then we can stand almost still in the air. Once that is done, we want to head on to the next part, and that is yaw. Now, the problem with yaw is that when you yaw, you're going to move around your own axis. That means when the camera is tilted just a bit upwards, as it is in most drones, it will also gain momentum in that direction. But we can still practice it, just so you get a feeling for what it does. Don't think too much about crashing right now, because that's what the simulators are for, so we can crash. Now you have all the three axes as well as the throttle, and then you can start combining them. Now if we want to go forward, you just pitch a bit forward with the right stick, and we want to move both of the sticks in the same direction to make a smooth turn in that direction. How much you want to move the sticks, that depends on your rates, and I won't discuss rates in this because I think the default rates are pretty good if you are just getting started. If you find this information helpful, please leave a like, maybe a comment, and also if you want to subscribe, I'll do more of these videos where I talk about how to get started and maybe a bit more easy to follow tutorials. Anyways, grab a controller and get into the simulator, and let's get flying.